I think that's it. I'm sure.
Call the public hearing to order at this time. First thing on consideration of permanent plat on property located at 46 West King Road, Hampton, Georgia. Is there anybody who would like to come up and talk in favor of this project? Please come forward and give us your name and the address.
Thank you all for having me today. I appreciate your time. My name is Richard Fair. I work with Brent Holdings in the city of Fayetteville, 270 North Jeff Davis. This property is owned by Heritage Bank. Heritage contacted us to see if we could work out a deal with them to turn this project from what was a previously begun development into a project that fits more in line with the current code. And so, if you all recall, some of you may have been on the board back in 2017 when we made application. The plan that you see quoted, the original plan had 74 lots. It is zoned R2 CRS Conservation Subdivision, and the goal with those 74 lots was to add in some amenities and then increase the density. Our goal was to we found that the density or the items that they picked for that density increase were things that were not probable and not probable to last in the subdivision. One was a lit basketball court in the back of everyone's house in the middle of the circle. We didn't feel that was appropriate, but it was a better solution. And so what we did is we redesigned the plan, and we redesigned the plan. It went through several iterations, and I appreciate all the help from council and from staff who worked with us over the past year or so to get to where it is today. We came from changed this iteration several times. We landed on 57 lots, and in those 57 lots, we also are including a large amount of open space. And in general, what we're looking at for the amount of open space is about 11 acres of open space, and the vast majority of that open space is in the area around Thompson Creek. The goal in our mind was to protect Thompson Creek. It's a very important area. I know that the that designated area is part of a protected watershed, and so we put the additional buffers on that, included those buffers outside of the lot. What we ended up doing as a result of all the meetings, the zoning didn't change, it's still zoned R2 CRS for a conservation subdivision, and like I mentioned, we're at 57 lots, so we decreased the number of lots significantly, decreased to 17 lots, 11 acres of open space, and through those meetings and through the discussions with staff and with council, we came up with several compromises. And the goal of the compromise, this subdivision, this was originally applied for in 2017, is designed in accordance with the ordinance that applied in 2017. And so what we did is met with council and staff several times to try to align our plan with the ordinance that was recently adopted last year. And so what we end up doing is at the request of staff and council, we put a walking trail around the entire side of the property, which is in the buffer. And secondly, we're going to landscape the detention pond. That was a requirement or a request. One of the requests is that we have an even distribution of houses with porches and with stoops, and we agree with that. The houses with porches shall have a depth of 6 feet, the porch shall have a depth of 6 feet, and a width equal to 40% of the width of the front of the house. And that's to bring it in line with the new zoning code. On houses with frontage or garage, the garage shall be set back from the front of the house a minimum of 2 feet from the front facade, exclusive of the front porch or stoop. So that'll stick out a little further. The landscape plan in the new zoning code requires a shade tree and 2 ornamental trees. We're agreeing to that. And in the original plan, it had we had a playground at the very front of the subdivision. At the city's request, we were requested to move it to the rear, or not to the rear, but to the intersection with the first road. And the goal of that was for safety, and that playground will have a decorative black picket fence. So it'll be aluminum black picket fence that will surround that playground, and that'll provide safety. The final item, in new subdivisions, they're required to have what's called a CBU. It's a central mailbox. You don't have a mailbox in front of your house anymore. Instead, you have a CBU, and we're showing 4 parking spaces. And so what we're proposing is to construct it in accordance with the plan. We might put those parking spaces a little bit closer to the corner than would typically be allowed. But that parking, in essence, what we're trying to do, we don't want to create a subdivision that the residents have to drive to the amenity areas where the kids go to the playground. This is more of a walking community with sidewalks on both sides of the street. The parking spots are really, number one, to accommodate the post office, or the mail carriers when they come in to deliver. And secondly, as residents enter, they may find it convenient at that point to pull into parking spots and pull inside. And we found that that's a fairly convenient way to get your mail. And so what I have proposed to you today is a preliminary plat with the zoning of R2 CRS conservation, which is the zoning that applies to a lot, and some conditions that we worked out with staff and council. What I'd like to do is reserve the remainder of my time for rebuttal, if there is any necessary.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anybody that would like to speak in opposition of this project? Please come forward. Give us your name and address, please.
Dale Landis, I live at 58 West King Road. This proposal surrounds my property and will greatly affect the property value of my place. I have a historic home. We came to Hampton to retire here. not to be tramped on by people right at our back door. And with him putting walking trails around the outside of the perimeter of that, they're gonna be right there at my property. And so guess where their trash is gonna go? Guess where they're gonna go? It's right onto my property. One of the things that he did not mention was, he said something about a buffer. He did not mention what kind of buffer he plans to put there, what's gonna protect my property. You also need to consider the fact that the intersection there at East King and West King is gonna greatly change, which is gonna cost the city money to fix. The infrastructure of the whole area is gonna have to be fixed at the city's expense, not theirs. And once they come in and they build, they're gonna walk away. And we're left with a mess, and especially my property especially is going to be affected. I don't want it. I understand that somebody's gonna come in one day and build there, but it does not have to be that amount of houses, that close together, that on top of each other, and that on top of me. So I'm asking, please turn this down.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Anybody else like to speak in opposition?
What she said.
Larry Rutledge, 15 Lancaster Circle. I represent the, excuse me, the homeowners of Lake Hampton subdivision. This property backs up to the dam, and you've heard me make this speech before, last time when this thing came up. And I appreciate the fact he's reduced the number of houses by a few houses, not many, but he has reduced the number of houses, but the lots are still very small. Driveways are still very short. The houses are not what I think Hampton needs to be adding. Y'all have talked about it before, other people got up here and talk. We need some better quality houses. We can't keep building these little bitty lots, little bitty driveways, little bitty houses. It's not gonna add to the quality of the city. This is not an appropriate place for that kind of development, for sure. I don't think they even appreciate the kind of problems they're gonna run into. That whole area down there is almost a swamp. Walked it many times. And I'm just here again to say that citizens of Lake Hampton subdivision would appreciate it if you would not approve this thing. Certainly, if somebody came in there wanting to build something of better quality, we would not even speak up, okay? Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else wants to come forward, please, sir?
Michael Rocco, 11 Pebble Road, representing Huddlestone. It's disheartening that you would have something like this with only 10 minutes of allowance. The problem that I see is East King Road, from State Route 20 to where it would intersect right at the front of this entrance, is breaking down as it is. You're going to put heavy-duty construction equipment on that road, and it's one of those roads that happen to be down the road in the repair plan. That's ridiculous. At a minimum, the development of this size should widen East King Road to a minimum of a 3-lane entrance where it goes into State Route. There should be a dedicated right turn lane, and there should also be a right merging lane on State Route 20, so traffic can get out of there. It's bad enough as it is. It would only make traffic worse. At a minimum, a traffic survey would have to be conducted to see what's there now, to give the engineers an opportunity to determine what needs to be done with the addition of 57 units and several hundred residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lowe?
Farley Road, 171 Lake Hampton Drive. Hampton has become known as the city of cul-de-sacs. I have some concerns. I know, looking at the property and the shape of it and the way it's laid out, there's no way probably that could be done otherwise. However, if there's a fire in Lot 1, that whole subdivision is now locked in, can't get in or out. We had a situation develop in our subdivision, the second house in the subdivision caught fire. Everybody inside was trapped, nobody could get out. So I really wish that the council would look at these kinds of things before they start approving stuff. You gotta have two ways. You gotta have a way to get in and a way to get out. There's only one way in and out here, And if something happens to the entrance, the people in behind, there's a situation in Clayton County right now in Riverdale, where the people are locked into the apartment complex because there's a sinkhole. So, in the future, again, I don't know how you could do this, I don't know how you could change it, to create a second entry or exit, but please, try to keep that in mind as time goes by, that we need to stop this city of cul-de-sac. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to speak in opposition? Yes, sir.
I'm George McGain, I live at 36 West King Road. And, I think if we're gonna build something, it needs to be a bigger house, somewhere it won't take as many lots. Well, like I said, we should be able to get in and out. But right now, there's a lot of traffic just going by. And I live on a dead-end street, and it's real hectic. Plus, they coming up and up, throwing trash everywhere, you know, and it's just a hassle right now. I don't think we should have no shotgun house, not with no little sharp drive, but if we're gonna do anything, give them $300,000 houses or better, so it won't take it again, and make the lot bigger. So I just don't think this would be a good idea, and I didn't have it, but I just moved back, and I moved back for retirement too. And I don't want all these people right there in and out, and then they start, leaving the house, foreclosed and all that. You know, all they're gonna do is bring property value down. And I don't want that around me.
Thank you, sir. Please hold your applause, please. Is a gentleman here, would you like to rebuttal any of this? Your lawyer, please.
I'm Jack Hancock, the Freedom Madison Gary, and I represent Heritage Bank. And just a couple of answers, hopefully more than rebuttal, I'd like to give you with regard to some of the questions. Ms. Landis asked a question about the buffer, and the plan shows a 50-foot buffer surrounding the property all the way around. I don't think it quite, she said it surrounds her house. It abuts her house on two sides, but not all the way around. The gentleman who spoke about the Lake Hampton subdivision dealt with the dam, and to the extent that there is an issue with regard to it abutting a dam, that's something that we handle during the development process. I'm sure your code takes care, and the state, depending upon the size of the dam, takes care of those kinds of issues. So that's not an issue that is before you. There are regulations that regulate that, and the development can't be done within those regulations, then it can be done. The minimum square footage of the house is going to be 2,200 square feet. We just moved out of a house, got old, and moved to a smaller house, and our house about that size. So, you know, that's a very livable house at 2,200 square feet. The issue with regard to the swamp, again, if it's not developable, it's not developable. But that's their risk. It doesn't prevent them from being able to develop something that will comply with the code. And the road issue, again, that's not a requirement. I understand completely what the gentleman said. And all those things are great. They're just not requirements that can be put on the back of a property owner. Those are city requirements that the city will have to deal with with regard to the road structure. That can't, by law, be put on the back of the property owner. And finally, with regard to Mr. Lowe's comments, if it's become a city of cul-de-sacs, I assume that means there are a lot of subdivisions with cul-de-sacs. And so to deny this property owner the right to develop in the manner that you have permitted other property owners to develop would be an unconstitutional taking of their property, we would contend. So change the rules, then the same rules apply to everybody. But if it's a city of cul-de-sacs, I think we've got a dead-end road. The last gentleman said that the road adjoining it, and I think it's correct, it's dead end. Well, that's just like a cul-de-sac. I would echo both on my behalf, because I've been involved in the meetings, as well as on behalf of Heritage Bank. They really appreciate the efforts that your staff has gone to in trying to arrive at a plan that would, although we contend that we're entitled to develop under the old zoning ordinance, but we've done everything that I think everybody can to try to bring it into compliance with the current zoning ordinance. And I hope y'all appreciate that, and we certainly appreciate the efforts that they've gone to in working with the engineers, in arriving at a plan that we believe is the best thing that can be put on that property and will enhance, the property values within your city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Any other comments? Anybody else in favor, would like to speak in favor of this project? Okay, we're moving forward. Consideration of speed humps on Hillside Drive in Hampton, Georgia. Is there anybody here to speak in favor of this? Anybody here to speak opposed to it? Okay. I will adjourn the public hearing at this time and roll right into the council meeting. If you call to order, invocation, Pastor Ted Garrison, and will remain standing for the pledge of flag, please.
Let us pray. Our kind, most gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we do thank you for this day, and we thank you for being a true and a living God and a loving God. And Father, we thank you tonight, Lord, that you just be with the mayor and each member of this board, and Lord, each one that's here tonight, and Lord, in the city of Hampton, Lord, we just pray that you'd be with each one, Lord, that all decisions would be made right, Lord, for the growing and prosperous of Hampton. And Lord, be with the police department, Lord, also, Lord, as they go out and every day, Lord, that you just keep them safe. And each visitor, each member, each homeowner in Hampton, Lord, just keep them safe in this time. And bless them in a mighty way. And we'll give you the glory and the praise. In Jesus' name and for his sake. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving forward, presentation and approval of city council minutes, regular session minutes, meeting minutes held May 14th, 2019, and need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the May 14th regular council meeting minutes.
Second. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0. The special call meeting held May 20th, 2019. Motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Y'all weren't here, so, you weren't here, were you? Mr. Turner? No. So the two council people, how did I handle this, Miss? Y'all here?
The ones that were here can vote.
Okay.
And it looks like it passed.
It passed 2-0. Thank you, ma'am. Acknowledgement of guest proclamation, resolution, and plaque. This is, Mr. Dave Fowler, Dr. Dave Fowler, and Councilman Brown, I believe you presented the proclamation. Did you sort of explain about Dr. Fowler?
Dr. Fowler was the principal of Rocky Creek Elementary School. He was the principal when the school opened up about 10 years ago and has served there ever since. He and his family decided that they were going to move to the North Georgia mountains. I think it's Raven County, where they built a log cabin and decided to move there and kind of retire, but finished out his teaching career there. He decided to resign his position here at Rocky Creek Elementary School, and he's taken the position as principal at the Raven County primary school. Thank you. So with that, we, decided that, he's probably come in contact with many or most of our children here, in elementary school. And, it was only fitting that we recognize him for his dedication to our students in the school. Hampton Elementary School has done very well, Rocky Creek Elementary School has done very well academically. And I believe they scored in the top 10 in the country in reading, I believe. So I went and I presented the proclamation to Dr. Fowler and his family on behalf of the city of Hampton, the mayor and councilman, citizens of Hampton. And he was really touched and really surprised, and it was a nice event.
Thank you, sir. Moving forward, public comment?
Moving forward, let's just make a correction to the, agenda and what was said about 2B. The meeting on May 20th was just a public hearing. It was not a, council meeting.
That's right.
And, all we did was hear from the applicant. I believe it was on the sign that's on your agenda later today.
You are correct. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Public comment. Come on, Don. Please give your name and address.
Good evening. We're at 20 McDowell Street. This council should reconsider the contents of ordinance 477, which was defeated by a 4-2 vote in the May council meeting. This ordinance would have increased the number of ethics committee members from 5 to 7, and would have allowed each council member and the mayor to appoint a member. The following city committees have 7 appointed members: Downtown Development Authority, Historic Preservation, and Tree Board. By not increasing the number of ethics committee members from 5 to 7, this council failed to correct an apparent error that was made in the creation of this committee. Approval of this ordinance would have shown residents of Hampton that this entire council places value on the perception of fairness as it relates to ethics charges. The vote on ordinance 477 last month happened very quickly and with no public discussion. As it stands now, the existing voting block of 4 council members can indefinitely deny approval of the nominations of the other 2 council members and the mayor. This does not cultivate public trust in our local government.
Thank you, Don. Any more comments, public comments? Ms. Oliver?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Nice to see all of you, beautiful people. Esma Oliver, 20 Cottage Street. A couple of things I want to make a comment about. The fact that we do not have a grocery store here in Hampton, and that was mentioned at the meeting with West Main Street community. And the city manager stated something that's been stated before, that we do not have enough rooftop to be able to get a store in here. But we did have Fred. So, and we've had more housing since Fred left than we did before they left. So I want to know, how did that happen? And the other thing is, if we do not have enough income in the city, then have you ever considered property taxes? Presently, you all know that, that's why many people move here, is because there's no city property tax. Some people have said that they would rather pay property tax than the high light bill, which is what we presently, that's our base for income, is the utility bill. So, just wondering if that's something that you consider. I know it wouldn't be something that many people would favor, especially homeowners, but it is a possibility for increasing city income. And the other thing is, considering the light bill, is there a chance
that sometimes that we may have a presentation concerning how the light bill is calculated. It's sort of a mystery. The different fees and the days and the debt, the sewer debt. How is that calculated? It changes from month to month. So those are two things that I have a concern about. Increasing income so that we can get some things done here that's needed, infrastructure and things of that nature, as well as some explanation informing us about the citizens, how the light bill is calculated. And, well, I mentioned this before. You know, when Mr. Ingram was here, he initiated a Citizens Academy. And that hasn't been done since. I think it would be a good thing. A lot of things could be explained in that would cause a lot of the confusion to be decreased about how the city is run and what leads to what, that sort of thing. And the other thing is, excuse me, I'm getting old and my mind wanders sometimes.
I do that every once in a while.
Well, maybe if there's some other comments and after that, if it comes back to me, I'll mention it. But those are two main things that I'd like.
Thank you, Ms. Oliver. Any more public comments? Good evening.
I just actually have some things. I wanted to get an update on our sidewalk. Looking at where we are on that project, as well as during summer, as a homeowner with a pool, as well as, you know, if the weather's been very dry and hot, and trying to water your grass and your flowers, I'm asking the council to consider suspending the sewer charge on the water for the summer, because I'm sure a lot of people will be using the water, and it's not necessarily going in the sewer as if they're using it for the watering the grass or something. Filling the sewer.
When you filled your pool, did you contact the city?
I did, but I'm still, I mean, the heat being what it is and it's evaporating so fast, you're constantly, I mean, I would be down here almost every other week saying, hey, I had to put water into my pool. So I'm just considering maybe for the summer months that we suspend the sewer
Okay, thank you.
charges.
Any more public comments?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Isaac Watson Jr. I'm at 1128 Watercourse Way. Number one, I personally don't believe the ethics commission should be changed. I believe it should remain the way it is. I do believe a lot of people would like to change it now, but of course they don't want to change it again in 4 or 5 years, back to where it is now. Number two, I would like to know how much of these houses you're talking about building over from Copplestone, what's going to be the prices of those homes?
And the bank man, can you answer that for me? What the price value of the homes?
I can look into it. I don't have it right off the top of my head. Generally, with a home market, we tend to look at the market price of the homes in the area, because in the housing market, it follows appraisals. Because in the housing market, when you're applying for a mortgage, your comps are very important. And so, as in a lot of other industries, a price dictates how you want to go. It's an exchange between two people. In this one, it's a mortgage that dictates what you can do. So in a situation where there's a house that is $250,000, if the market will only sustain $230,000, then that additional 20,000 must be made up by the purchaser. And so we'll come in at market,
Just
obviously-
roughly, just estimate,
I would say in the twos.
in the 200,000?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I would say that there's a group in Carson, that's very concerned about what would be the price more than the fact whether there will be homes built over there. There is some concern about traffic in and out, but I would imagine the council would really approach that prior to them being authorized to go in there and do this type of thing. And there is a group in Carverstone, as I stated, that if we don't get an idea of the price, number one, we're gonna be strongly opposed against this here. Otherwise, the property won't.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any more public comment?
Michael Rockhold, 1211 Pebble Rock Road. The two things we're talking about tonight. First off, this introduction on the Piper Jacket agreement. It starts off, the initial introduction that was available online, and I quote, "To evaluate and improve its financial standing." Now, that's also the words that are used in the resolution on this. But the language in the actual agreement doesn't say anything about improving our financial standing. What it says is, they're gonna find out how much we get bonds for it. Now, if that's the intent, why wasn't it stated?
Okay, thank you, sir. Are you finished?
I've got one other
Okay.
one. Looking at the proposed changes on the zoning.
Can I save you some time? That is going to be removed until we have a public hearing.
I was gonna say, if I may go ahead.
Go ahead.
It seems to me, it went up to the county, and the county didn't think too much of it, as we can see by their response, and it was their sole sticking point, that public hearings could not be conducted. And I wanted the people behind me to be aware of that, because I doubt many of them got in and really read all of the, what, 400 pages or whatever it was, that was with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any more comments?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Sharon Hayes, 71 Clover Court. And, I'm here to talk about the trash that we have put in front of our yard for the city to take away. It's been, going on 4th month since we've had, a sofa and some chairs and stuff like that in the front yard. And, they have not been removed. I've been here about every time I come and pay my bill. I've been here in between those times. I've had sent written, messages to the front and to, well, the lady in the very front, she just told me to complain over here. And I've gone through the drive-in window, I've done everything I could to get them to remove the trash. And it has not been moved. It's been going on the 4th month. My neighbor next door, they, remodeled their houses and they put their, it was like beds and furniture in their yard, and they came and took their stuff, and they left mine. And I'm wondering what's the matter when I'm paying my taxes in my house, and I'm paying my light bill on time, and I cannot get the service. And it's going from bad to worse. Before that, my light was out, the street light was out for 6 months. I've been complaining for 6 months, all the time, coming up here, please, can y'all fix the light? And they have written all kind of notes and put it in to put in file to let them know that the street light has to be fixed. Now, for me, I go to Bible study on Wednesday night. When I come home, I would like to see some light, because one time before, there was a man behind my trash can, and I was so scared, because I couldn't see him. And that was very scary, and it's hard for me to go to church and come home to darkness. And so it took me 6 months to have that light fixed last month. And, the debris they moved from not debris, but the leaves from the trees that they moved, they put it on top of the sofa that was sitting there for months. And they put all that on top of it, and the city came, took all the leaves off, and left the sofa and the chair. And so I have pictures to prove to you that is still there. It's just rotting right now, and it's a big eyesore on my cul-de-sac. So I would like for you, if you can, please, for God's sake, I pay my bills, and I would love for the city, you have changed over to a whole new staff, and I don't know what they're doing. Are they doing their job?
Yes, ma'am, they are.
I don't think so, because when I came in
Well, if
here
you'll get-
and I was talking,
If you'll give me a minute,
Okay.
your time's up.
okay,
I'll let you talk to our city manager.
Okay.
And I'm sure he can address this tomorrow or the next day or whenever. But we will get it picked up.
I would like that.
Thank you, ma'am.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any more public comments?
I remember.
Yes, Ms. Holly.
Well, one thing for this lady that just was up here, it's my understanding that we have to pay to get things like sofas and big arches,
You are correct.
chairs or feet.
There is.
Now, the other thing is, police report. Do we have a policy or ordinance or anything stating how often the police give reports to the public, bring reports for a certain period of time to the meeting so that we know what's going on in the city? And aside from that, is we have this app that allows us to receive alerts. And I know things have gone on here in a criminal matter, and I've not received any alerts. I've talked to other people who are on this system, and they didn't receive alerts. So, you know, we do have crime in the city. I know that it is considered one of the safest cities in the southeast area, but there's still crime here. And I think citizens should be aware, because people living close to where crime is being committed could be alerted and aware and on the lookout. And I just think that we should have reports on a regular basis, quarterly, semi-annually, or whatever, but we should have.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. This will end public comments at this time. Moving forward, I need a motion to remove 5A from the agenda tonight.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion that we remove, 5A from the agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0, will be removed. Moving forward under old business, 5B, consideration and action regarding Hampton First Baptist Church requesting for flashing LED signs. Stephanie, I know you have a question for the lawyer.
Ms. Lee, I spoke to you at the hearing about this, that I'm a member of the church, and you said unless the sign was a benefit, financial benefit for me or my family, I would not need to recuse myself. And at first I'm like, how can a sign be a benefit? But if our youth was to have a fundraiser for camp, and my children were to benefit from that, would that apply?
So obviously, conflicts are personal in nature, right? You know your situation better than I would or your colleagues would. And so your conflict ordinance provides that you, have to be able to determine whether or not you or your family members could receive some financial benefit from your vote or from the action before the board. And so, not a quantum leap, but I definitely would have to defer to you on whether you think it's a conflict based on your activity at the church and what could be advertised on that sign that could lead to some financial benefit to you, or your family members. I don't obviously know your personal situation with the church, but I don't see how it is a conflict of interest for you to vote on a zoning matter, for a time. But obviously, I would defer to you on what you think is best.
Okay, Ms. Bodie?
Based on the fact we are involved and my children would be involved in stuff, I am gonna do so.
Okay, then you need to step out, please. Well, that brings up another question. I'm a member there also, but I do not have any conflicts because I don't have any children. I'm just a member there.
My response?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I need a motion to approve or deny.
Well, Mayor, if you would allow, a moment. So the application was submitted, to the city, with all the necessary, requirements, which included a picture of the sign, the dimensions of the sign, the location of any other signs that are on the property. All of that was submitted properly to the city, and as you know, it was denied, based on the fact that they are asking for a flashing sign. I did do some research. Unfortunately, there's not a staff member, here available anymore to provide this.
We've got two.
Staff,
Our
not
city
staff of the
staff.
church, city staff. We lost that person, that's why we resigned. Oh, sorry, I know you're, to give you this report, so I'm just trying to stand in the gap.
Okay.
If you would allow it. 11-12 of our ordinance does provide for, a prohibition on flashing signs. And it does say that any sign, in the definition section of our ordinance, any sign that changes the message or intensity or color, more often than every 10 seconds is a flashing sign. I think, during the public hearing, the inquiry was not made, and I don't see it on the application as to the, time intervals of any message that would be on their sign. To make it, in compliance with our ordinance, it would have to be less than 10 seconds. In fact, Councilmember Brown, you know, we have a changing sign right across the street at the depot. That sign changes every 8 seconds. And so I just wanted to provide you with that information in accordance with, this appeal that's before you for the church to get a permit, that their flashing sign would need to be in compliance with the ordinance if it changes less than 10 seconds.
Lisa Hardy or Ms. Murphy, can y'all address that?
We do know that the sign is adjustable. That is something that I think we can deal with, and how it's programmed.
We can adjust the length of the changing as well as dimming it in the evening.
Right. Which the ordinance requires there to be dimming, based on external or internal lighting from dawn to dusk.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to approve or deny.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion that we approve the First Baptist Church flashing lead sign, with the stipulation that they make sure that it is adjusted to where it only flashes less than 10 seconds.
Do I have a second? A second?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0. 5-1, one abstention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ask Ms. Bodie to come back in. Consideration and action on the West Main Street project, Mr. City Manager.
Good evening.
Good evening.
If you remember, Mayor and Council, at our last meeting, we asked for input from the council, or direction from the council, as to whether or not we wanted to go forward and secure CDBG funding for this project. Your vote that evening was to go ahead and do that. As instructed, we contacted Henry County and sent them an email. They have returned confirmatory email that they have received our request to secure that money. since our last meeting, we had a public hearing, or public meeting so that we can get feedback. All council members were there. We met, about 2 weeks ago, and we laid out 2 different proposals. We got a lot of feedback from those that were in attendance. And the main discussion was whether or not we wanted to do a 2-way street, the viability of doing a 2-lane, 2 different directions, or do one-way traffic. If you could go ahead and, this was a road widening, option number 1, which was called for 2 lanes and a sidewalk. Just for refreshing our memory, it would give us, the specifications, but, that would be required would be 24 feet of pavement, another 2 feet of curb and gutter, a grass separation of, 2 feet, and then a sidewalk of 5 feet. That would net us 33 feet from the east edge of pavement closest to the railroad tracks, which is, you know, we can't go we can't infringe onto the banks. This is we took a Google map shot, and then we drew in to show you how close the sidewalk would be. We didn't color in the grass, but you could see the sidewalk, how close it would end up coming to some of those houses. It was determined, and once the public that was there, all the residents had been notified, we got a lot of, you know, obvious negative feedback on that option. We presented option number 2, which is widening, doing a road widening project with 1 lane of traffic, but adding a bike lane and a sidewalk. We discussed at length the need to have, we can go with a 1 lane as narrow as 9 feet, but we wanted to do 11.5 feet plus 3 feet for a bike lane, and you add another 2 feet of curb and gutter. The specific reason we recommended this was in case you had a car that broke down, you could at least push it off to the side and encroach upon the bike lane, the curb and gutter, and you'd still have public safety access to get by there. We did recommend that, now this would give us a net 16 feet from the east edge of the pavement to the curb and far less encroachment. And we believe strongly that all this will fall within our railroad the right-of-way that's been granted to the city of Hampton by the railway. We have made a recommendation that we, on this street, in this instance, that we would do a 4-foot sidewalk as opposed to 5 foot, and that would be so that we can match the other existing sidewalks, but only in this exception. Overall, this would knock us down from 33 feet to 20.5 feet overall from east edge of pavement. So there was a lot of good discussion, as you all remember. There was actually a couple others. There was some folks, there was a couple people that were adamant against doing anything, which we know we have to do something because we have to maintain the road. We need safer conditions there. We had some folks that were against the bike lane, but we had others that were adamantly for it. They liked the idea. So where I'm at right now is I'm asking for direction from the council before we go forward in design. I would like direction from this council. Do we do it with a bike lane, or you do it without the bike lane and narrow it? That's, you know, that's where we're at. So you all were there. You had firsthand opportunity to gauge public response. We had a lot of good discussion that night. So where I'm at is what is your pleasure, and we will design the road according to your wishes.
Ms. Mitchell?
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consideration action for 3 main with the sidewalk and the bike lane.
You're going for option 2 then?
Option 2.
That would be a 1-way street, is that correct?
A one-way street. But now I do want to point out, just as we discussed that night at the public meeting, we will not determine which direction the traffic will flow until we conduct a traffic study. Okay, but we can go ahead and start the design feature of the road. We need to start getting the
construction document strong, so we need to go into the design phase. We can determine which way the arrow goes after we do a traffic study. We can do that while the road is being designed and the construction documents are being drafted.
Do I have a second on Mr. Mitchell's motion?
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor? All, option two. Thank you. New business, consideration and action on setting a public hearing for July the 9th, 2019 for consideration of speed bump humps on Caldwell Drive. Is anybody here from that subdivision to speak on this?
I think you just need to move to set the hearing, and obviously they would need to come in.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and set the date for July the 9th, 2019 for a public hearing.
What time?
At, 6 p.m. Consideration and action on approval of special alcohol beverages event hosted by the Henry County Humane Society Barks and Brew 2019 on October the 5th, 2019 at Jailhouse Brewery located at 8 Cherry Street from 2 to 6. Is anybody here from the Barks and Brew or the Humane Society?
No, they're not, Mr. Mayor, but I'm familiar with.
Okay.
Mr.
Dr.
Van.
Bumpus?
Yes, sir. This is, an event that's taken place, several years back to back in our community, it's a charity event that, hosted, to support the county humane society, some more good work that Mr. Wayne Golden does, who, what he does there at Jailhouse Building.
I need a motion to approve or deny.
Mayor and Council, I make a motion to consideration action approval for special alcohol beverage event hosted by Henry County Humane Society.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Passed 6-0. Consideration and action regarding changing the City of Hampton official voting site. Ms. Tina Lunsford?
Yes.
There you are.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
We're here tonight to ask you all to consider changing the current municipal polling location to match up with the current county polling location. And the reason that we're asking for this is right now how it goes. If there is just a municipal election, then the voters will go to the Fort Library. Just to give you a little bit of background, in 2017, it was a municipal election year. Voters went to the Fort Library. 2018, we had 5 elections in Henry County. They went to their county polling locations. 2019, although it is a municipal election year, there will be a county question. And so voters will go to their county polling location. 2020, we will have 5 elections. They will go to their county polling location. 2021 comes up, if it's just a municipal election, they will go back to the Fort Library. It just leads to a lot of confusion for voters. And so we would just like to be able to match it up to where they know on election day, this is my polling location, regardless of what type of election it is. If they want to do early voting, then they go to the Fort Library.
Okay, can you tell me our 2 polling places right now?
You only have one, that's the Fort Library.
Okay.
If you consider
For the county,
it would be the Berea Church and then Calvary Church.
Okay. Federal elections?
It's the same one, Berea and Calvary.
Okay. So this, just the city municipal election will be at the library, the Fort Library?
That is how it is now.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, since the municipal election is held at the Fort Library, and this year there's gonna be a county question, how are they gonna have to go to 2 different places to vote?
That is what we're trying to stop. They will just go to their county polling location. The city of Hampton, the way the city limit lines are drawn, they actually are centered perfectly within those 2 county polling locations.
I understand that, but what I'm saying, if we don't opt to change our location this year, when election goes on, how are the people in the city of Hampton?
2 places.
You have to go to Fortson Library and to the
So
county.
you have to go to Fortson Library to vote for what's on the municipal ballot. And then you have to go over to Marin or Calvary to vote for the Henry County question.
Yes.
Ain't that something?
Well, I got a question. Why can't we just put it on where we vote at the Maria Church and the Calvary Church? Can we not add that to the ballot?
You can.
That was resolved.
No, he's asking, can it be added to the city? If we decided to keep it in one location, why can't the question or whatever is on for the county be at our location?
Because it's the municipal general election, and it has to do with the way the database is, and those combos that are in play. It's the way the state has it.
So this is state law.
It's a municipal general election, and general election, I don't want to say priority, but general elections are top. The county having a special election, it falls under.
So what happens if we decide not to move it?
Then you have to vote two places.
You have to vote two places.
You gotta go to two polling locations on November 5th or whatever day it comes.
Now, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Have you had this happen in other areas where they had to go to, because I know as a citizen, if I was going to the library to vote, and then they said, well, to vote for this, you now have to go over there. Some people are gonna get upset going to two places, and they're gonna take it out on your work.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. 2013, the same thing happened. Every 6 years, the county has to swap for a new slot.
You just want to vote in one, for everything in one location.
I
What
would
we have
like you
now.
all to consider letting the city, but the Hampton voters just have that one polling location to match up.
No matter what. Yes.
No matter what, this is their polling location, so if they go vote on election day, they don't have to remember and think, is it the county or is it the city? They just have that one polling location, and it just reaffirms where to go on election day.
I have one more question. So does it change back? Because you said in 2013 it happened.
Yes, it
So-
changes back.
Automatic.
No,
Unless
if you
you
all
all
vote,
vote.
which you can't do tonight anyway, it won't change back. It changes back if you don't approve it. It will, every 6 years, when they have, like SLOSS, the SLOSS 5 question is coming up this year, that'll be on the referendum, or whenever there's a county question, it will change back to go into two places. But if you approve it, it will forever be, unless you change it again, one location.
No, not one location, two locations.
Well, one place to vote, depending on where you live, it's two locations, but if you change it, it'll only be, one voter will go to one location. For everything, county, general, special, city.
But we can't even do that tonight.
No, and I provided you a memo
Right.
at the time, you can't vote it on tonight anyway, without publication, you can't do it tonight.
Make your job easier.
It would make my job easier, but it would also be great for your voters.
Right. Okay.
I have a question, Ms. Mayor.
Go ahead, Mr. Murray. You have some, Murray.
And I think I'm gonna have my concern is gonna be kinda the same as a lot of people here and people in the community. I've been here since 2006, and since then, I've had 4 different, polling places. So, I get these little cards, and your new polling places now, here, and currently it's at Calvary Church. And I guess my question to you is, if this is approved, and we now only have 2 different locations in our city to vote, and each citizen would have one of those 2 as their fixed place to vote, no matter what the, election is, what is your office going to do to make sure that that's communicated throughout the community, so everybody knows ahead of time, ahead of the election, so that when election time comes, I know this is where I'm going.
what we do is we advertise it for the legal ordinance. We will put it on the county's website. We've had to do a lot of, map changes with polling locations because we were asked to get out of public schools. So that has, we're gonna be addressing all of that. We've actually got some, media that we're going to come into play. So we would like to have the opportunity to advertise this change at the same time. We've reached out to a lot of people to get some publicity, to let them know there are changes. And voters will be sent new precinct cards again, but this will be the last one that they're sent.
Well, can I ask that in addition to the precinct card, you put some type of notice that's gonna catch their attention? Because I typically just take my card and I tear a tab and I file it in my little safe place until election time comes. But if people who lose that card, they're, you know, you need to do something more to get it in their mind and get them focused on that change. Make it not just a one-time notice in the mail, but an ongoing reminder somehow, maybe on our bulletin boards, maybe the church's bulletin boards, if that's something we can do to remind people, hey, we only have 2 polling places. So everybody can be in tune, because what I don't want to happen is that someone goes to their old polling place, we're not voting here, they get frustrated because here, I'm coming from home, I'm dealing with the traffic from Atlanta, I'm running up at the last minute, and then someone tells them that they can't vote there and they just don't vote.
Right.
You know, so I want to make sure that people have every opportunity to vote, and with that, I want to try to make sure that we do whatever we can to make sure that everybody knows where they're supposed to vote. Even in the schools, we got 18-year-olds in school, they should know where their voting place is going to be. So I just want to
Exactly, and we are working on board of education. We're actually going to be putting a flyer in the first day of school packet that children receive, letting them know of all the polling place changes that are going to be happening. And we're already contacted 250 churches in Henry County, letting them know. A lot of them that do have the campus have agreed to put something in there. If they have video transcripts, we're going to do that. So there is going to be a lot of media and publicity for all these changes.
Any more questions? Go ahead. I know you mentioned about media and so forth. In 2013, 2017, I knew many people around in my neighborhood, other neighborhoods, have gotten a postcard that says the vote location on their card. When there, they have been on there. My concern is, you mentioned those 2 places in card and media, and still yet those things happen in 2013 and 2017.
I mean, when they receive those voter precinct cards, it does say for county polling location and municipal elections. So it does list 2 currently. If this goes forward, they would just have 1 polling location listed on their precinct card. So that would clear up a lot of confusion.
Ms. Wiggins, I think you probably need to draft an ordinance. Nope, do you need to draft?
Well, first, and I'll provide Melissa with a copy of this, the first thing that needs to happen, per the memo you received today, is the advertisement in the legal ordinance. You have to provide notice, and it's just gonna be a resolution.
All right, the resolution. Go ahead, Mr. Mitchell.
To be clear, are you proposing 2 locations, what, by zoning, each person have their own location to be at?
What will happen is if this goes forward, whatever the voter's current county polling location is, that will be their city polling location.
What do you consider one area, doesn't matter, the entire city of Hamilton, one location for everything?
Yes.
Which one location for zoning?
To do that, you would actually be taking voters that are currently in a precinct. And remember, precinct and a polling location are 2 different things. So you would be altering precinct lines. You would be altering 2 county, state, and federal precincts. And then you would have to create a new precinct just to have those voters in one precinct, one polling location.
I'm correct, you're in precinct 2, right? In precinct 30, in Kansas City, Hampton, right?
So if your polling location is Southampton, that would be your municipal election. Then there's voters that are in Northampton, that would be their city polling location.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Ms. Wiggins, can you, Ms. Wiggins, can you, follow through with everything on, go ahead.
I will get it to the appropriate staff person.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Okay. Consideration action to adopt resolution 2019-10 approving professional service between the city of Hampton and Piper for financial. Is that yours, Mr. City Manager?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I'm pleased to ask for your support in this resolution 2019-10 for the following reasons. When I interviewed for the position of city manager, I expressed to each and every one of you the first thing I would do as the new city manager would be to conduct a SWOT analysis of the city of Hampton in order to determine our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. As part of that analysis, I've determined that we as a city would greatly benefit from having the services of a municipal financial advisor, which we presently do not have. We need someone that's expert in investment banking services, municipal finance, tax abatement, and pension fund issues. I highlighted some of those pension fund concerns. Personally, I have 81 people collecting pension. You have a workforce of about 64, so long-term planning for your pension fund is particularly important. Many cities and counties throughout the country employ the services of such experts in order to assess not only the present fiscal viability of the municipality, but the future sustainability of that municipality if it continues on its present course. Establishing a long-term financial strategy ensures against the pitfalls of short-term thinking, which can ultimately lead to a long-term financial crisis. I have been in public government work for over 37 years, and I have seen what has happened when you engage in crisis management and you don't have a long-term financial strategy. I saw it happen in Clayton County several times over the decades that I worked there, and that is something I really want us to avoid here in the city of Hampton. Unlike many cities in our area that are similarly situated, we do not have a municipal financial advisor. There are 7 specific areas that I feel that we need and would benefit from the expert advice of a municipal financial advisor. Number 1, I feel strongly that we need to evaluate our long-term debt structure related to our sewer system. Number 2, I feel that we need to evaluate our utility rates, water, sewage, electric. We have heard public comment tonight about debt services and the way those are billed out and whether or not it is sustainable long-term under the present structure. I also feel strongly that we need to evaluate capital investment needs in order for us to maintain and grow our infrastructure. Many of us got phone calls when the power went out. Our infrastructure is vulnerable, and especially if we have more and more development coming in, we need to be able to evaluate our ability to continue to service our present citizens along with providing service to our future citizens. We don't have a long-term strategy around that, nor do we have a handle on what the cost will be to extend electric, sewer, and water as we continue to grow. We want smart growth. We don't want the opposite. We want to be able to manage our growth in a way that is appropriate and gives us a quality result. Number 4, I think is very important that we evaluate our pension fund fiscal strategy to ensure future stability. We have a commitment to the employees that have retired from the city of Hampton and have worked here many years. They are counting on their pension to be sound throughout the rest of their life. It would be unwise of us not to do everything we can to look forward to their future and ensuring that the deal they made when they came to the city of Hampton is honored. Number 5, we need to evaluate our present investments to ensure our greatest return on investment in order to provide for our continued financial stability. Number 6, I feel that we need advice on tax abatement strategies to ensure quality growth and to help stimulate economic development. Part of the comment we heard earlier about, I brought it out, we heard a comment about grocery stores. That is true. Part of the problem when our rating as a city is a 70 on area vibes, where they give municipalities across the country a score. And part of the reason why we only score a 70 is because our cost of living has been determined by outside objective experts to say we pay higher than we should on groceries and gasoline and things like that. We're higher than a lot of the areas around us, and that's simply because we don't have enough competition here. So I think being able to stimulate quality economic development would be important, and that's one of the areas in which a municipal financial advisor would be able to help us. Number 7 is very important. I believe that a municipal financial advisor would be able to provide us both advice to the city and to the Downtown Development Authority on strategies and incentives related to business retention and recruitment. We have all been concerned. I know I've spoken with you, Mr. Mayor, and council members about, we've had 2 businesses that have closed up right down here on Main Street. If we do not do our best to retain these businesses and attract other quality businesses, there's going to be little incentive for our citizens to support local businesses because there simply won't be there. We need to do everything that we can. Based on all the reasons that I have just mentioned, I am asking for your approval to hire Piper Jaffray as our municipal financial advisors. Piper Jaffray is a very well-respected asset management firm with a high level of expertise in public finance. They were named as one of America's most trustworthy financial companies by Forbes magazine in 2015 and 2017. The managing director for Piper Jaffray's office is Mr. Ed Wall, and as you can see from the attached profile, he's uniquely qualified to represent Hampton as our municipal financial advisor because he has served as either the financial advisor, underwriter, or placement agent to over half the cities and counties within the state of Georgia. Additionally, he presently serves as financial advisor to Clayton County Water and Sewer, the city of Stockbridge, Clayton County government. He has also represented the Development Authority of Clayton County. It's also important that he knows the local, for you to note that he knows the local landscape. In the past, he has represented the Henry County Water and Sewer Department and our Henry County school system. He is expert in all areas dealing with SDS, loss, SPLOS, being able to bond projects so that we don't have to wait for the full collection, that we can fast forward projects. I'm proposing that we have money in the budget for professional services. I brought this forward to you because I made a pledge to you and the citizens of Hampton that we would operate a government that was fully transparent. The hourly, and I didn't want to just do this administratively. I wanted to bring it forward for public discussion for you to hear clearly what my rationale was rather than me just do it on my own. I would manage there's money in the budget. It's not a negative impact on the budget. I would manage his hours at the rate stated within our budget, and if he places a bond, that would be part of the benefit we would get there. He's proposing 1% if we ever bond a project 1% fee, but he has a proven track record of getting some of the lowest interest rates out there. So we would get to borrow money based on our good credit and his ability to sell the city's good credit and place in public bonds, so we can go forward with any, if it's determined that we need infrastructure improvements that we presently don't have money in our operating fund to handle. Mr. Wall is here, and if he would indulge me a couple minutes, let him come and speak to you and just, and maybe answer any questions you might have, but certainly at least to speak on behalf of Piper Jaffray.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Good evening, Mayor Council.
Good evening. How are you doing?
My name is Ed Wall, and I am a managing director of Piper Jaffray, and I'll give you a little history about myself. I was born and raised in Millersville, Georgia, and some of y'all old enough to remember that was an insane asylum. I wasn't there. That's what I thought. My mom worked there. We weren't patients. And I went to Georgia Tech in 1981 and graduated in 1984, and Mr. Lex Jolly hired me in this business. He'd been in the municipal bond business since 1925. I was the first non-family member he hired at Lex Jolly Company. He trained me in the business, and I've been in that municipal bond business ever since. That's 35 years. I've done something different. I just didn't know how to do nothing else different. And I used to do business all over Henry County. I think in '92 I got with politics wrong with Buddy Welch. I did no more business in Henry County. But I'm here back in Stockbridge. I'm here. I've represented Clayton County since '92. I represent nearly every city in DeKalb. I've represented DeKalb County since 1985. I've got 2 grown children. I'm married. I've got my boy is 25, and he's got 2 kids. And I know I don't look old enough to be a granddad yet. I'm now I'm calling myself that. And my daughter is going to get married next year. She got engaged to be married about a month ago. I got 4 weddings next year, so I don't have my full attention. And so my job is really to do anything y'all tell me to do that I can do. I ain't an engineer or nothing, but I can do your budgets and finances, and I've done it for 35 years for clients all over the state. I've worked with Millie in the city of South Fulton. I know her well. She's really competent. I worked for 30 years with your city clerk, City College Park. And so I know most of the politics. I know your folks here. Your folks manage me. If at any time y'all get dissatisfied with my services, or your staff do, you just tell me to hit the road. You don't owe me nothing. There's no penalty. We fire one another after 30 days. And I look forward to working with you. Hampton's a cool town. I love that depot. I've never been here all these years I've been here. It's a really, really pretty town, and I hope I have the pleasure to work with you. I'll open myself to questions.
Any questions from the council? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you all.
I need a motion to approve or deny the resolution.
Mayor and Council, I make approval for the resolution approving a professional service between city, Hamilton, and Piper Jaffray.
Do I have a second? Mr. Turner, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, pass 6-0. SLOSS 5 update report, Mr. City Manager.
A little over 10 days ago, I received an email from the Chief Operating Officer of Henry County, and have asked Hunter to go ahead and put this up. This is copy of the email came in May 31st at 6:04 p.m. And this is a schedule that the county is proposing. They have put forward, you'll see in the following slide, they have put forward their list, the county's list on June 18th. They were hoping that intergovernmental agreements would be approved. We have since had, on the 19th, we have since had a meeting of city managers from all cities, met with the Chief Operating Officer for the county and the Deputy Chief Operating Officer, told them that the 19th would not work. August 1, the ballot language is supposed to be submitted to the elections office, and then, of course, we would vote on November 5th, and April 1st of 2020 would represent when SPLOST 5 collections would begin, should the SPLOST pass. Go ahead. This is what Henry County is proposing, and these are the numbers attached thereto. Their budget analysts are projecting that we will collect $245 million over a 6-year period. 6 years. And they're proposing a 75-25 split, claiming that the city's percentage is based on the 2010 population numbers. If you agree with that, then you have to subdivide the 25%, which is presently estimated a little bit north of 61 million. The county would get a little bit north of 183 million. If you look down below, we've highlighted Hampton. In red, we would get 2.91% of the 25%, meaning we would get a little over 7 million that we need to earmark, what our projects would be. You see the splits for the rest of the cities, and that's based on population. Another overview, this SPLOST list, you will see a repeated theme. If you look at the bottom number, they're proposing a split of about $26,500,000 to be spent in each commission district. Okay? Here are the county-wide projects that they're proposing. Jail pod, fleet replacement program. I want to point this out. That's almost $18 million. When pressed on the issue, they admitted that is not limited to public safety equipment only. Okay? That's fleet. That would include general things like building inspectors' vehicles, staff cars, the fleets, big fleet, okay? Now, no doubt, a big percentage of it will be for public safety, but note that it is not limited to public safety. You can see the other public safety that they're counting as countywide projects. None of these countywide projects are within the city of Hampton. We'll get to the only project that is in the city of Hampton. They're also accounting for $4 million of program management. That's based on their staff. They're estimating north of $660,000 a year for staff to manage the program. I don't know if that's a good number or bad number, but that's what they have placed as part of their program management fee. It was interesting. I've done SPLOST program management elsewhere, and a lot of times you break up program management to each project and you assign a portion thereof to it. In this case, they're highlighting it separately. Go on to the next slide, please. This is District 1. I won't get into all the details. I just want to point out, you see the bottom again is $226 million. But look at the detail here. I just want to mainly look at the detail and the specificity of these projects that are being enumerated in other districts. District 3, these are the capital projects. There's a Heritage Park Senior Center at the top, and then you see the rest of it. There is some for sidewalks, and then at the bottom some resurfacing. Go to the next one. District 4, again $26 million. District 5, the two biggest numbers coming in a little over 21 million are the Fairview Road widening and the West Village Parkway construction. You can slide it up a little bit. It also totals 26 million for that District 5. Now, if you would go, I would like to show District 2. The recreation center, I've been told, Nash Farms master plan, that's a big number. I asked for some specificity, what are they doing, you know, I'm the new kid on the block, I've only been here a month. So I asked, what specifically in that master plan are they proposing to do with the $4 million? It is believed that it is intended, I cannot swear to it, I'm just telling you as I was told by county staff. They believe that that will be, that $4 million will be earmarked for an amphitheater within the Nash Farms master plan. The recreation center will not be located within the city limits of Hampton. Their best guess is it'll go off Jonesboro Road near a soccer complex. The Flippin Road extension, you see how much money is earmarked there. And the Greenwood Industrial intersection of State Route 155. Dutchtown Road's a big number. That, of course, has no correlation. It's in District 2, but it has no correlation to Hampton. My concern is that the money that is there for streets and sidewalks, none of them have been enumerated, so I don't know if any of it, they're just putting it as general. They're not making a commitment. They're not naming any streets within the city of Hampton. My job is to represent you and the citizens of Hampton and fight for the best deal possible. So I just earmark that as an issue of concern. What we have facing us timeline, since certain things didn't take place prior to me coming on, I feel it is important that we hold some public hearings, some public meetings to get some comment on concerns of the citizens of where they would like us to put our $7 million towards. I believe, was that correct, $7 million on the Hampton split? I think it was 7.1. That 7.1, I've already asked staff to begin making a list to present to you of what they see as potential projects of concerns, particularly roads, sidewalks, more resurfacing. But if you go back, slide back to on the county's project list, go to the District 2 slide, please, Hunter. District 2. I would like, I think that we would benefit if you had the opportunity to speak to our district commissioner about seeing how much of that I believe it's $3 million, what's the total there? Bottom line for roads and resurfacing?
$3,360,000.
Right. If we could kind of lobby for getting some of those, if we can get some relief, we could make our $7 million go farther. If we can get some of this money for sidewalks and road resurfacing, get some of that money earmarked for City of Hampton streets, I think it would be very beneficial. We have 144 streets representing 41 linear miles of streets within the City of Hampton presently, okay? Just to resurface a street costs anywhere between $250,000 to $325,000 a linear mile, okay? Depending on the condition. So when I asked Mr. Spagnan, we crunched the numbers. In worst case scenario, we have a long-term capital maintenance burden of about $11 million. We couldn't possibly do it all in one fiscal year, but even $11 million is a pretty heavy burden to bear by ourselves. And us to do it only out of our budget. And some of those streets, because you were forward-thinking enough, you all already took the action to get someone to evaluate our roads. A lot of them are in pretty desperate need of repair now, okay? So we've got some projects, we've got some SPLOST 4 money, and we've got some stuff that's earmarked in our budget, our general operating budget to address some of it. But the need certainly outweighs our ability to handle it all in-house. So my encouragement, this is what I feel like we need to do. I think we need to lobby for some of that $3 million to be earmarked for City of Hampton streets. I think we need to schedule some public meetings. We need to have, the county is wanting us to have our project list completed by the 28th of June. So we're playing catch up here. So, I know we got some good feedback from the public the last time we had a public meeting on the road widening project. I think this would be of vital interest. I think we need to schedule some meetings as soon as possible. We need to communicate. Our staff's already coming up with some good ideas, but I think you all would want to hear from the citizens also. And then you can make a final determination, and we could take that to the county on the 28th of June. So that's my update for you.
Thank you, sir. You talked about us, having a public hearing as soon as possible.
Public meeting, yes.
Public meeting to get the public involvement. I would like to schedule that meeting for Monday, June the 15th at 6 p.m. here at the City Hall. Please.
That's the wrong month.
Huh?
That's the wrong month.
I'm sorry.
15th is a Saturday.
I'm sorry. Next Monday, whatever next Monday is.
June 17th.
June 17th, I'm sorry. June 17th at 6 p.m. There will be a public forum for the public to have input and to express any concerns. Here at the City Hall at 6 p.m. Please get the word out to everybody, please. Mr. Reporter, can you handle that?
Yeah, I'll certainly don't worry about that.
Thank you, sir. I need a motion to go into executive session.
Madam Clerk, I need a motion to go into executive session.
Litigation and personnel.
Litigation and personnel.
I'll second.
All in favor? We're in executive session at 19:54 hours.
I'm gonna be honest.
I